Hi guys, this is Zach from Angler's Escape, and today I thought I'd go over my outboard motor for my 14-foot aluminum john boat. So I got this motor about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago with the boat, and the guy I bought it from said it was all reworked, and so far I've taken it out probably close to 50 times in the last 2.5 years, and it's worked really well so far. And so real quick, I thought I'd go over first how I started, then kind of talk about the oil-gas mixture and how fast it pushes my 14-foot boat at the end of the video. But to begin, it's pretty easy to, once you get the hang of it, to start up. The first thing you got to do is obviously plug in the fuel line right here, and it'll be on a different place depending on the motor type and year. But once you plug in the fuel line, this is a 5-gallon gas tank down here, and basically what you do is just pump this in right here until it gets hard. You can't pump anymore, and then you have your fuel line all pumped up, and there's gas in here ready to go in the lines. So once you got all the air out of the lines, then you got to pull out your choke. And then the last thing you want to do is make sure your motor is usually in neutral, because if you don't, you'll lurch forward. So I got this in neutral right here, the lever. So now I got the choke out, it's in neutral, I got the gas pumped into the lines. It usually just takes a couple, like 1 or 2 good pulls, and it should start up. And I've noticed with my motor, it starts better on the first time if I leave the choke out as long as possible. So right before it starts to die back down again, which could be 40 seconds or something, I'll push in the choke, and then usually it'll click in and it'll start going. And then the last thing I do is to get it out of neutral is you have your, you got to make sure this is in start too when you start it. But what you want to do is, now that you're in neutral and you have it started, you go to shift, and now you move this lever back here into forward gear or reverse if you needed to, and then you rev it back up to start and you're good to go. That's basically how I start it. And then the last thing I'd like to add is whenever if you're on the water and you want to stop the motor but you know you're going to start it up as soon again, you want to push this black button right here. This kind of shuts it off without like sucking all the fuel out of it. If you just pull out the choke to kill it, it's harder for it to start back up again. But if you push this, it keeps it warmer, and it's easier to start back up if you just push this black button right here. And the last thing I'd like to add is usually when I'm done for the day, I don't want a lot of gasoline in the engine, so I unplug while it's running. I put it back into neutral, and I just unplug the gas, and then just let it run out all the gas in the line so you don't get it gunked up in the motor, because that's like the last thing you want. If you don't have to run it all the way out if you're going to use it the next couple days, but usually it's a good habit to get into. So that's kind of how I start my motor, how I turn it off, how I start and stop it. And now I'd like to go into like the gasoline mixture. So right here I have Evinrude Johnson motor oil, and basically you kind of want to research what your motor takes, but usually it's something along these lines. And this particular model, this 1959 Evinrude, takes a 1 to 24 mixture of oil to gasoline. And on modern outboard motors, it's closer to 1 to 50, so you want to research that too. But for 1 to 24, this is 1 gallon. I got it for around $20. That means I can mix 24 gallons of gas with this. So I put about maybe 1/5 of this into every 5-gallon tank or so. And you can measure it out. I have a little measurer that I pour into this and get the conversion right. So for 5 gallons of gas, I have to, 1 out of every 24 parts I got to have oil. So you can figure that out fairly easy and mix that in. Usually you can shake it up a little bit to mix it, but a lot of times when you're driving the boat, it bounces around a little bit, and I think that mixes it pretty well in there. Another thing I'd like to add is every year people say you should change the gear oil. Right when I got this motor, I didn't know how long the gear oil had been in there, so I went ahead and changed it. And this is just some marine lubricants gear oil, and it's SAE 90. And this is what they said to get for my 1958 motor. And basically what you do is, this is good to do every year if you use it a lot. If not, maybe every couple or 3 years. But you just want to unscrew these two right here. First you'll unscrew this and drain out all the oil, and then you'll screw that back in once the oil's drained out, and you'll push it in through here. And it's fairly easy to change some oil. It's kind of messy and it takes some time, but you do want to get in the habit of doing that at least every year or every other year, so you don't hurt the motor. But I think that's the most of it. The last thing I'd like to add, at the very end of the video, I'll show the motor actually running. It does power this boat pretty well. This is a 14-foot flat bottom John boat right here, and I'd say I'd go around 10 miles per hour with 3 people in the boat and quite a bit of gear. I'd say if I just have a little bit of gear and like 2 light people in the back, I'd say it probably goes closer to 15 miles an hour, and the whole boat does plane up with it, and it has a nice weight too behind it, but the boat definitely planes up, and that's good with gas mileage. So I hope you learned something here today, and thanks for watching. Alright, here's my Evinrude 59. We're going out. Running pretty good.